Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Tonight we have Dr. Winters here, and we are going to discuss. Dr. Winters is going to discuss and give us an explanation on CRT. And because there's been a lot of talk the last few years of what CRT is, what CRT isn't. Most people don't know the theory or what CRT is has been used by both sides of the political aisle, and in reality, as Dr. Winters told me, it has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. Um, how you doing, Dr. Winters?
Oh, I'm fine. And how are you, man? What up, though?
I'm all right. As our good friend says, I'm feeling white.
That's good. Give me some mayonnaise. Bye, bye.
How's the weather? How's the weather out there, man? I know it's been hot on this East Coast.
Well, it's been kind of hot here. It was but remember we suffered from those fires burning in Canada.
Hmm.
They're burning over in the forests in Canada, and so when the wind changes, it comes down here, and then it when it comes down here, it gives me a headache and all that type of stuff. But
Yeah,
we've been seeing a lot of sun, and the wind hasn't been blowing that way. See,
yeah,
in Chicagoland, we get most of our weather from Canada.
yeah. I know we had got some wind. I'm a couple states over from you, and we had got some wind. And I know when we first had the first smog thing, a lot of people, oh, they trying to take us out. And then it got to New York City, and we mixed with their air pollution, and people was really the air quality was bad, and so forth and so on. So, Dr. Winters, I know, thank you for being on the show. I need you to explain for the audience, and I know a lot of the audience already know who you are. Um, Briefly, who is Dr. Winters?
Okay, well, Dr. Winters is just a grassroots brother. Dr. Winters isn't a young man. I'll give you my football voice. He was a young man that when he was younger, he played football in high school. He played football in college. Then he got fat and his voice changed. But seriously, I taught her, and I have six children, five boys, one girl. I'm married to a sister, and well, she's dead now. She's my wonderful. She died in 2020, so she left me out in these streets. So I'm here to kind of talk to the brothers. I became interested in writing about Afrocentric studies when I was in my 20s, back when I was at the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. When I graduated, I met Ivan Van Sertima and some of the other ilk, and I became an associate editor with Ivan in founding the Journal of African Civilization, and that was founded in 1979. Then, so I worked with Ivan until about 82, 83, and then we had a falling out. But I continued to do my research. I've written over 200. I've written
Excuse me.
over 200 articles. You can find my 200 articles. I put 200 at Academia Edu. I have 100. I have 200 articles I published over there. Then I have another 50 to 100 articles that you can go to ResearchGate. I wanted to separate them so people, can see the shit because see
Hmm.
that. Then I taught in the Chicago public schools for 46 years. I retired in 2016. While I was teaching at Chicago public schools, I did research on what was called social studies standards, and I did wrote on the Common Core. I even wrote the sixth grade world history series, and we used to do they used to use my lesson plans for the sixth grade world history course, but that only lasted a couple of years. Somebody said, "Damn, this shit is too Afrocentric," so they stopped. But because I wanted to include in those lessons, about us, because world history is where Black people really stand. During that time, while I was teaching the Chicago public schools, I taught linguistics and education at Saint Xavier University-Chicago. I taught there for about 3 years. I taught 10 and a half years at Governor State University, also in the state of Illinois. At Governor State, I was a lecturer. I taught all the research classes. I taught educational psychology, education law, and stuff like that. So again, yeah. So that's about me. Oh, also, I have 40 books published. If you want to support a brother, join my Patreon and also buy one of my books. Really buy about 5. I mean, come on, help a brother out. I want to thank, a lot of people. Every time I'm with Q, a lot of people are sending me cash apps. I want to thank everybody out there that's been cash apping me cash. And, because I really appreciate that because, like Randy Short tells you, we need that money to buy books, do our research, be able to present the research to the people. Back in the day, before I retired, I would do two conferences or national, international conferences every year. So I got papers and shit all over the place. Some papers I forgot I published. I'm sorry, but that's me. And if you guys have any other questions, just put them in the
and how many people have you? If you could just, you don't have to tell us who, but have you consulted or just advised and gave them like you've given me some good information to go with and a starting point?
I've given hundreds of people advice. In fact, the first stuff that Renoka Rashidi published, he got from me. He never, he's like most niggas. They don't give credit to each other. And I'm serious. How many brothers can really work together like me and Dr. Short? How many brothers do you see that we just ain't like that? Because most of the time, in a sense, we kind of fight each other. We've been conditioned. No matter how they say that they didn't really write a book about how to control us, they did. They put in our spirit. They put in our soul a fear of each other. They put in our soul. They put in our spirit a desire to keep a nigga down. That we see a brother moving up, we want to pull him down. It's hard. It's very hard. I don't blame them. But I've worked with Asa Hilliard. I worked with him back in the day before he died. I worked with Hunter. I worked with Ivan Van Sertima. I worked with a lot of those people back in the day. But back in the 80s, I had a falling out with Ivan. And after I had a falling out with Ivan, because see, Ivan, what happened is, as I told you, I've been publishing since I was 23. Therefore, a lot of times I ran into these old brothers, and a lot of these old brothers, they were professors. They were in their 40s and 50s. They never published anything. And here come a young brother right out of college. I played football. Since I played football, I played defensive end in high school. I played linebacker in college. So I started out 180 pounds, and 180 pounds, I had to kick tackles' ass. So what did I care about the big boys? So a lot of people got jealous of my research. Even today, even those people who you see talking about Black history or whatever, they don't write no articles. They just teach. I'm a scholar and a researcher, but I'm grassroots. I'm from the people. I'm from the people. And just like a lot of people don't know Dr. Short. Dr. Short, he's taught at university. He taught at university for a while. He's written books. I mean, just because we talk to the grassroots, that doesn't mean in the sense that we don't really, in a sense, be able to talk to the people. See, this is it. I'm hijacking the university. What are you talking about? You're hijacking the university. What it is that I'm taking this that I used to teach to my students. See, I didn't teach undergraduates. I taught graduate students. You see, since I taught graduate students, that was people working on their masters, their PhDs. In fact, I was on David and Hotep's committee. David and Hotep, he wrote the book about the ancient Americans. I was on his committee. I handled the research aspect. And I've worked with Asante, at Temple University. So I've been out there, But a lot of people used to say I was dead because they didn't want people to know about. They didn't want people to know about me. See, I'm famous. I'm famous, but didn't ever get the money. See? So you had to be rich and famous. See, back in the day, and even today, a lot of people they go kiss somebody's ass, and then they say, "Oh, he's in the clique," but that don't mean they do shit. I'm about doing shit. I'm about teaching. I'm about relaying information. I'm about making you see family. After the night, you're gonna get a PhD course in critical race theory. You think I'm
So
joking?
I know, and for you guys in the chat, I had the opportunity to ask Dr. Winters what it was, and I was assuming what I thought it was. And I have a thirst for education. I have a thirst for information and being able to apply it. So I asked him the question before we did a show, and his answer and what he was proceeding to start talking about was not going to give the question or the answer justice because it was like 5 minutes. So, well, Dr. Winters, what is CRT?
Okay, let me present. Let me go to my presentation. Let's share the screen.
I got to do it right.
Can they see the slides?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Can you show the slides?
Hold on one second.
It's just that you just let me. Are they showing us and the slides or what?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Are you ready? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Critical race theory. Join my Patreon to see the slides. These slides that I'm going to present, I put all my slides for all my presentations in my Patreon. Join my Patreon. Be supportive, you know. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. I'm on Twitter every now and then, but not too much. You can go to YouTube and watch my videos. I have almost 400 or 400 plus. I forgot how many. I got lots of videos dealing on every aspect of Black history. And of course, you can go to Amazon and order my books. FBA. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestry or pedigree. As a result, we are descendants of the African and Aboriginal Blacks who built the United States. B1, baby, Black first. B1 is acknowledging your Black African ancestry and mod, not heritage. What do I mean by that is that we all have an African ancestry. All our ancestors came from Africa, but we have different heritages. You know, some people are Muslim, other people are Hebrews, some people claim to be Moors, some people are Protestants, some people are Catholics, and even some people are Jehovah's Witnesses, and we don't like to see them coming on Saturday, but it's good to say hello. But the point is that that's a heritage. See, we shouldn't let that heritage separate us. We shouldn't let that heritage cause us to abandon who we are, because see, we're unified as an ancestry, an African ancestry. B1, baby, Black one. What is B1? B1 is unity with Mod. Dr. Marie Charles has noted that Kim Dejet Mod. Kim Dejet in Mod. Kim Dejet in Mod. Do the Black. Speak you Mod. If you want to find out more about our history, get my books, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. Get this book. If you want to find out about our Aboriginal or Black Native American heritage, get my book, We Are Not Just Africans. And if you want to really understand our genetic history, understand why we're related, because see, the phylogeography of Afro-Americans and Africans is the book to get. Let me explain to you, young people. First of all, you got to remember that the oldest skeleton found in the United States is an Anzic man. Anzic child is a baby skeleton. When they did the DNA on this skeleton, they discovered that this skeleton carried the Y chromosome R1. The Y chromosome R1. This was 12,000 years ago, baby. And do you know what? Today, today, 22% of foundational Black Americans continue to carry the R1 haplogroup. What does that mean? What that means is this, baby. What that means is that some of you out there, your ancestors go back in America, the United States. I ain't talking about Africa. Hell no. I'm talking about in these United States, some of your ancestors go back 12,000 years. Racism is toxic. Yes, racism is toxic. To understand critical race theory, you got to understand Cades. The letters Cades mean culturally acquired immune identity deficiency syndrome. Cades has caused much destruction in the African American community. Cades is a psychological equivalent to the AIDS virus. This is an infectious mental illness that causes the individual to lose his or her immunity to whiteness. Mental domination of their mind, because they begin, in a sense, they lose their identity. When you catch Cades, you see, when you catch Cades, you forget who you are. When you catch Cades, in a sense, you give up your culture. When you catch Cades, you lose your immunity to whiteness, and you take on a white identity like many people of the Boule, or many people in the Divine Nine, or many people in the churches. You saw it. They clone. Maroon. What is that talking about? That's talking about how they program us to catch Cades. We have to fight Cades. To fight Cades, you must stay Black first, be one, through acceptance of your African ancestry and true knowledge of your history. That's what I'm about. I'm a grassroots historian. Yes, I've written 40 books. Yes, I've written about 300 or 400 articles. But the point is this, is that I like to make sure that my people understand who we are, and where we're going. Because the only way that we can fight Cades, culturally acquired identity immune deficiency syndrome, the only way we can fight that is knowledge of our history. Cades has caused much destruction in the African and Black community. The aim of knowing your history is to strengthen your cultural awareness of Black and African people, so that you can have the self-confidence to fight Cades. Afrocentrism is the ideational code to conceptualize the universe in which they live and interact. Culture can be defined as man's learned, accumulated social experience, including man's art, belief, customs, knowledge, law, and morals that are transmitted and shared by a social group. In general, culture refers to a system of learned ideas, not what we do or make. See, that's why when you look at that movie, they clone Tyrone. You see, what did they try to do? They tried to imply, and the movie is deep, but they tried to imply in the sense that we have certain cultural elements. What does that cultural element say? They said eating chicken, going to the dance hall. We feel we got to hustle to make some money. See, but that's not our real culture. Our culture is the culture of the United States. You don't notice when you look at Europeans, they always talk about they brought over here the music from over there. They brought over here the dance from over there. That's not American culture. American culture is foundational Black American culture. We built this country. We cleared the land. We built the railroads. The world music is ours. The language they speak, the greatest speakers of the English language, they're not white, they're Black. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, James Earl Jones. Yes, even the language is ours. Our culture is making inventions. We made the telephone work. We made the electric light bulb. We made the computer. And yes. We even made the damn cell phone. Nigga, what? That's your culture, baby. Get it straight. Knowledge of history provides the individual with recognition of the self as a victor or victim in the progress of mankind. White supremacy maintains that Black people have no history. This falsity can make some Blacks feel they are justified as victims to be exploited by whites within a system of institutional racism. White racism promotes trauma among foundational Black Americans. This trauma varies within the foundational Black American population. Genetic trauma occurs. Genetic trauma is genetic memory of oppression, exploitation of foundational Black Americans. Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad that the average sister, by the time she gets 30, 35, she's taking high blood pressure pills? Isn't that sad? Isn't it sad that many brothers died from just the pressures of life, the pressures of trying to get down, trying to survive? That comes from the racist and racism that we experience. You have to understand that critical race theory was developed by Derek Bell, and what critical race theory is talking about is why this society is the way it is, why you have to experience all these traumas from interacting with those people. You have to experience, in a sense, these traumas from having to go to work with those people. You experience these traumas by looking at the medias, the radio, the TV, the films that denigrate you and make you feel that you have to submit and join the Cades pandemic. White supremacy can be defined as the idea that whites are superior and supreme in relation to non-whites. The major tenets of white supremacy are that FBAs have no history and are inferior to whites in culture and industry. And this inferiority has existed since the founding of civilization. That's what they teach. Thus, the white supremacy view makes us view history through tinted lenses, glasses that filter our reality and replace it with a history that manifests the experience of foundational Black Americans, framed in whiteness, an instinctive rejection of our history, not sanctioned by the white academy, media, or whites generally. The presence of white supremacy in the print and digital media supplemented programs many FBAs to feel superior to whites and believe they should be placed in a lower social position than whites. Second and third frequency. See, first frequency are Black people who accept who they are as the founders and the queens and the kings and creators of this civilization. That's first frequency. Second frequency are the Europeans who have adopted our culture, who have stolen from us and who enslaved many of us. Third frequency are those Black people who belong to the Boule, the Divine Nine, belong to sororities. They're middle class people who, in a sense, give up their identity so that they can keep other brothers down. These are what we call Uncle Toms and Coons, but they're educated Uncle Toms and Coons. Fourth frequency, sadly, fourth frequency are those Black people who've given up totally on being civilized. You see, these are these people that we see in the streets that belong to gangs. These people in the sense that do some of the low down, what we call ghetto culture. But ghetto culture is not our culture. That's why they identify it as ghetto culture. That's not foundational Black American culture. Second and third frequency, foundational Black Americans accept their inferior positions in society as a result of subliminal teachings. They absorb as a result of accepting without question the negative images of foundational Black Americans promoted by the media. Yes, yes, yes. Every night. If you look at the news, every night at 10 p.m. in Central Time in Chicago, at 11 p.m. on the East Coast, every night they give you a sample of some brother that created some criminal act. See, if you looked at TV, you wouldn't believe that no white people killed each other. If you looked at the new daily news, you wouldn't believe in a sense that white people, in a sense, did any crimes. But we know when we look at FBI statistics that white people do more crime than us. But every night you're given a sampling of a Black person on TV who's committed some sort of crime. See, that is part of white supremacy, but it's also why we have developed the whole idea of critical race theory. Critical race theory explains why the white supremacists. Critical race theory explains why white people have to bring you down. Critical race theory explains why white people hate you, why white people want to kill you, and why, even though these white people didn't grow up in America, even though these white people are fake white people, or they're people in a sense who are adopted whites and they come here from all countries all over the world, they still learn that they should be able to put a foot up an FBA's ass and twist it around, you see. Because they hate you. And they hate you because you're you. They hate you because, look, they said that you are a people without history, but then they study our history. They know our history. They know what we've done. See? They know that we made the light bulb work. They know even this damn computer. You're looking at YouTube today. See? This used to be a system. This was a system that the military was going to use as a way to communicate if there was ever a nuclear war. It was a brother. Yes. It was a brother who made it possible for us to be able to go on the internet and see the things that we look at. But that brother didn't get no money, did he? They show you white boy as being the one who did. No, the white boy just had the money, but America used to be the leading country on the planet Earth. America used to be the country in the sense that made all the inventions that made the world go popping. But what do? They decided in 1974 that if they had to give black people rights, they'd keep a nigga down. But they didn't know that to keep us down, the whole United States goes down because we make America poppin'. We do the inventions. We're not just the greatest athletes. We're not just the greatest entertainers. Don't you forget, I know every one of you have heard about those sisters. It was a sister who made the program that they could send the first astronauts into fucking space. The damn astronauts trusted them sisters and their mathematics rather than a damn computer. Don't you know who you are, brother? Don't you know who you are, sister? You are a queen. Brother, you are a king. But they can't tell you that. They won't tell you that. And you're not going to know that unless you study your history. You're not going to know that unless you learn your history. You're not going to know that unless you understand what critical race theory really is. Because critical race theory is not about history. Critical race theory has nothing to do with foundational Black American history. Critical race theory is about that white man. Critical race theory is why he's a psychopath or a sociopath. The critical race theory, what it does, it explains why the white man hates you, want to kill you. Created a race in which he has the privilege to always win. White supremacy affects foundational Black Americans psychologically, physiologically, and emotionally. It affects foundational Black Americans because it causes racial stress. This racial stress is normalized by daily experiences in the white world. Yes. You didn't know that. You think every time you go downtown, every time you look at TV, every time you're around white people, that you're okay. No, you're not okay, because the minute you get around them, you tense up. The minute you get around them, you want to change how you talk English, baby. The minute you get around them, you feel that you got to prove to them that you're just as good as they are. That creates stress. But see, when you know your history, you don't get stressed out because you know you're not just as good as them. No. You'll never be as good as a white man. You'll just be better than that, brother. I said it. White supremacy has affected FBAs epigenetically. Epigenetics is the study of how your behavior and environments can cause changes that affect the way our genes work. Epigenetics changes are different from genetic changes because they are reversible and fail to change your DNA sequence. Epigenetics, therefore, changes how the body reads the DNA sequence. Let me explain to you. 97% of your DNA is called junk DNA. What that means is that 97% of your DNA is not programmed and does not have a particular function in terms in the sense of how you were behaviorally and stuff like that. What that means in a sense is that means that part of that 97% that's junk DNA can be programmed through social epigenetics. And social epigenetics are learned behaviors, you see. Back in the day, when you came to a plantation, usually they had a plantation kind of out in the woods, away from the town and stuff. See, the minute you came to that plantation, you was gonna see either a nigger stuck on a pole, and what they would do is that they would get the strongest brother, and they would get a pole, and they would in a sense make it spread eagle, and they would get that pole and use a hammer, and they would grab that pole from his ass up to come out his mouth, and then they would stick that nigger right outside the damn plantation. On every plantation you went to, if they didn't have a brother on a pole, they always had some heads. Yes, they had heads of black people on a pole on every plantation that you went to, and they would leave those heads on that pole, or those heads hanging from a tree until it rotted. Because see, the plantation was not a place where you had fun. A plantation was not a place, in a sense, where you was having rubbing noses with the leader. A plantation wasn't a place where you learned no benefit to get you out of slavery, because you remained a slave for 250 years. You remained a slave unless you could run away or unless you killed your master. See, they put in us certain things. They put in us, in a sense, this whole idea to be afraid of the white man, but to keep the nigger down. Yes. When I was growing up, the first fight I saw, I was looking at the big kids, and the big kids started fighting. Bam, bam, bam. Doing them moves, man, left, right, bam, bam. And then as soon as the brother got the other brother down, he sat on him. And as he sat on him, he said, nigga, 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 nigga. I said, what's wrong with him? I didn't understand then. To see, they had inculcated us to hurt the nigga, See, that's why when Dr. Short get on the air and he say, please help me, please help support me, please send me a cash app. Most of us ain't gonna even send $2. Most of us ain't gonna send $5. Most of us could send $100, but we ain't gonna send him shit. You know why? Because we've been conditioned to keep the nigga down. Through epigenetics, social epigenetics. In other words, they've changed the content. You see? But then some of us are freaks. Yes, I'm a freak. Why are you a freak, Dr. Winters? I'm a freak because I went to college and came out with two things that the white man didn't want me to come out with. Number one, I came out with a love of my people. And number two, I came out with common sense. If you notice, most people who go to college, they don't have no common sense after they graduate. See? But see, that is epigenetics. Every day, every experience you have is an epigenetic experience. Every experience you have is influencing your genes and the more habits that you produce. It's programming your DNA. First frequency is the original man. Third frequency, blacks suffer from Cades. Fourth frequency, blacks, they seek to destroy their community. A few years ago, this brother, he talked about CD4. This some shit. Look at that sister. That's Cades. Look at her. Look at that picture. She don't know where the hell she is. She don't know what she's going through, but that's Cades. But see, the European wants you to have Cades because he knows that we have CD4. CD4 explains why first frequency blacks have a high degree of creativity and oneness with the creator. Whites lack the number of CD4 strands to compete with first frequency blacks, so they are second frequency. What I mean by strands is that anybody that's seen, if you've seen how they say a gene looks, and then it's a strip and these different segments of the script. Well, see, we have what's called CD4, and see, CD4 explains your creativity. CD4 explains who you are and what you are. And white people who've done genetics, they know we have more CD4 than them, and that's dangerous. Yes, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because they know, in a sense, that with CD4, that makes you superior to them genetically. I ain't trying to talk no ish, and definitely no sh. The lack of knowledge among third and fourth frequency blacks of their greatness allows blacks to submit to second frequency humans. The only way for third and fourth frequency blacks to become first frequency is learning black history. Epigenetics. In biology, epigenetics is the study of heritable phenotype, changes that do not involve alterations in the DNA sequence. Epigenetics can explain many of the negative health and physical features of white supremacy or FBAs. They've done studies. And now if you go to the doctor, they would tell you that blood pressure, high blood pressure is not genetic. Yeah, the doctors used to always say, when you get in there, have your mother had high blood pressure, your father? Okay. If anybody in your family had heart trouble, okay. But no, we know now that that's not genetic. That's from your experience being a Negro, being a foundational Black American in this country. It's the stress that we're under. This is what causes those diseases among us. It's not what you've done to yourself, it's what they've done to us. You're okay when you're in your natural environment, but you're not in your natural environment. You're in an environment where people know because you carry more CD4 than them that you're a superior person. You have melanin. You have melanin. Oh, Dr. Winters, what the hell are you telling us some damn melanin shit? So what if I'm brown? So what if I'm red bone? So what if I'm yellow? Get out of here. Nigga, what? I'm going to tell you what. They taught you in school about photosynthesis. They taught you in school that plants draw energy from the sun. And because they draw energy from the sun, that makes them produce. That gives them energy, right? But they don't teach you about melanosynthesis. Nigga, what you talking about melanosynthesis? I'm going to tell you what melanosynthesis is. Melanosynthesis is the fact, in a sense, that when you go out in the sun invigorates your ass. That's why when it's a sunny day and 80 degrees, I didn't say 100 degrees, did I? I didn't say 90 degrees. But when it's 80 degrees or under, you feel like $1 million, baby. When you wake up and the sun is shining, even if your wife and left your ass, or your boyfriend and quit you feel good, baby. Because that's that melanosynthesis. That's the fact that when you see the sun hit those cells, hit your cells. Do you know what they call your brain? They call your brain the supernigra. What? Supernigra? Yes, they call your brain the supernigra. Look it up. But you know what supernigra mean? That means that your brain is a super nigga. Super nigga? Yes, sir. Your brain is black. Foundational Black Americans have a long history in Africa and North America. Whites have to keep FBAs down because they fear competition with us. The CD4 gene is on the chromosome 12. That's chromosome 12. The CD4 role in producing first frequency blacks is an example of biological epigenetics. Yes. The discovery that Africans have 9 strands of CD4 as compared to non-Africans implies that Africans have a longer genetic memory of past experiences than non-Africans. This access to genetic memories than non-Africans explains why whites need to maintain a privileged position in society, because they cannot compete with FB on a level playing field. Do you understand? They always tell you that you're ignorant. But on any level playing field, they can't compete with us. They can't compete with us in sports. They can't even compete with us in the white sports. We used to run tennis. Well, the black women still run tennis. And then we had that compilation. He forgot he was black until these white women keep suing his ass. We even ran golf. See, what did Francis Wilson? Francis Wilson said they let us play the big balls, baby, big balls, football, basketball, the brown balls. Because he said brothers got big balls. White people play the football, tennis, golf, but we even dominate that. What does that tell you? If we dominate the sports, and you see how those sisters, when they was working for NASA, these sisters was better than a damn computer. That tells you they can't compete with you. That's why Derek Bell was able to create critical race theory. Because see, critical race theory explains white behaviors. To understand white opposition to critical race theory, you have to understand genetics. The 4 human frequencies construction to understand why we need to teach ancient Black history in the schools. It also explains why white supremacy is used to maintain white privilege. It's important to remember that foundational Black Americans are an exceptional people, yes. You are an exceptional people. You're foundational Black Americans. The foundational Black American people in the United States, the descendants of Black Native Americans and former chattel slaves, are the oldest living ethnic group in the history of the United States. This results from the fact that our FBA ancestors have lived in the United States prior to the founding of the U.S. and writing of the United States Constitution. I already told you how Anzic man carried Y chromosome R1 and how 22% of foundational Black Americans carry R1. See, you better stop getting it twisted. All of us didn't come from Africa. They estimate that only 200,000 people came here from Africa. The rest of the Black people was already over here. The first slaves in America, they were not, in a sense, Africans. The first slaves in America were Black Indians. And see, just like in Africa, Black Indians sold they other Black Indians because we thought we was nationalities. We was disunified. We weren't B1. Oh, I'm a Cherokee. I'm a Choctaw. I'm a Yuchi. Fuck you, Crow. Fuck you, Winoka. Fuck you, Yamasi. That's what we told each other. And what did he do? The strangers, they took our land from us. They took our land from us because we wasn't unified. We wasn't B1, baby. What is critical race theory? Derek Bell developed the idea of CRT. He argued generally that we must question liberal foundational concepts, such as the quest for civil rights, legal equality, and constitutional neutrality. Remember, they teach us in law school. So in other words, Derek Bell, he founded this. And he said, in a sense, we had to stop that liberal concept that they want you to have civil rights. We have to stop believing, in a sense, that our government, this system, is about legal equality. And we have to stop, in a sense, believing that the Constitution is neutral. The Constitution is not neutral, you see? Because white supremacy will prevent these social constructs from transforming the social conditions of foundational Black Americans. See, critical race theory is about the fact that white people are genetically, they're inherently anti-Black. That's what critical race theory. Critical race theory is not about our history. Critical race theory is about their psychopathology, their social pathology. Critical race theory is about the fact, in the sense that you can't expect the Constitution to save you all the time. You can't expect, in a sense, civil rights to protect you. That's why they gave us rights. And then after they gave us rights, they made it in a sense that women had to be equality. And by the 1980s, the only people who got in the sense, any advancement and civil rights was white women. They always flip the script on us. And that's what Derek Bell was talking about. He's talking about the fact that even though they say they give you civil rights, they didn't. Even though they say we got legal equality, they never gave us that. And even though they say the Constitution is neutral, that's a damn lie. Critical race theory is about why the white man created a system of white supremacy. He created a system based on 3 things. This is critical race theory, family. Whites hate you. Number 2, whites want to kill you. Yes. Number 3, whites have invented a race called racism. And in this race, he's invented a race where he's going to always win because he has to have privileges. That is what critical race theory is about. Critical race theory is about white people being psychopaths. Critical race theory is about white people being, in a sense, sociopaths. Critical race theory, they don't want that taught to their kids because then that'll let their kids know the only reason you got any damn thing in this country is not because you're brilliant, not because you're the best, not because you can keep a nigga down. The only reason you got everything is because of your white privilege. They don't want their kids to know that. Don't have nothing to do with your history. It's critical race theory is teaching white people that you only have what you have because you're a liar. You're tricky. You lie. Dr. Bell maintained that the social transformation for foundational Black Americans must be race conscious, recognizing that white racism and hate of FBAs cannot be eliminated due to the fact that racism, this is what you better remember. Critical race theory teaches that racism is normal and a permanent feature of white consciousness. You hear what I said? Critical race theory says that racism is normal for white people. And critical race theory means that this is a permanent feature of their consciousness. They hate you. They want to kill you. That's not talking about your history. That's talking about that European mind. That mind that mind that hates you, that mind that wants to kill you, that mind in the sense that when he sees you, he fears you, and he fears you. Why? He fears you because of the fact that he knows that you can do anything. Foundational Black American, you're unique. I already told you that our ancestors go back 12,000 years in this country. In Africa, our ancestors go back 200,000 or 300,000 years. Because our memory, we have a genetic memory that is 12,000 to 100,000 or 200,000 years. That means you know everything. Nigga, what? That means that you're just full of so much wisdom. That means that you have access to what they call the Akashic records. Those are the records of all the things that happen, see? That's why the European, his whole world collapses. When he loses his books, it collapses. But you think of shit every day. We making vision that a brother made. When I grew up, when you went to the washroom, you know, sometimes you get some newspaper and you're sprinkling that newspaper up, making something you can wipe your ass. But hey, brother man, what did he do? He invented the greatest invention in the history of mankind, the greatest invention. And that was what? Toilet tissue. I know you want to laugh. I know you want to say that I'm crazy. But you know when you're in that bathroom and you want to wipe your ass. Give me some toilet tissue. In the United States, human beings have intrinsic or extrinsic value on their race. The FBAs are prisoners of war. Yes, we're prisoners of war. We either kidnapped from Africa and taken to the United States to build and develop the USA, or we were kidnapped from our damn African tribal villages. In the eyes of whites, FBA have intrinsic value because they are an asset. Yeah, white people see us as an asset. See, white people see every black person over as an asset. They feel as long as they got a brother, they can make some money off it. As long as they got a sister, they can make some money off it. See, it's everybody out there. You might lie to me, but everybody out there knows somebody who told you how the white man, in a sense, be using all their knowledge to make shit work, and then as soon as you train somebody else, they fire your ass, and then the stuff go down. You know it. They know who you are. They know that you're the masters of the universe. But see, because of CRT, because it's in them, it's in their consciousness to hate you. I'm sorry. Please don't get mad at me. Please don't get mad at me. Unless a brother or sister went with a white kid from kindergarten up to high school, they might could marry that white person, and that white person could love them. But the average white person can never love a black person. You can marry them and all that, but they can't love you. And they can't love you because it's in their consciousness that you're inferior. It's in their consciousness that they got to keep the nigga down. It's in their consciousness that they can't, that you're not on their level. So how can they love you? To love somebody, you got to respect them. And to respect somebody, you got to think they're as good as you. And that's why it's kind of sad. That's why it's kind of sad. But I don't like to tell you this. I don't like to say this. But it's the truth. The critical race theory explains that white people, their consciousness is to hate you. Their consciousness is to destroy you. Their consciousness is that if they find a nigga that's smart, to use you and then throw your ass away like any tool. Don't get it twisted. Stop. Stop thinking that critical race theory has something to do with history. Stop thinking that critical race theory has something to do with politics. No, critical race theory means that whatever the white man give you, he ain't giving you ish. I went to college, and many other people went to college after Martin Luther King died. You know why they let me go to college? Because we tried to burn Chicago down. Said, fuck you. Nigga, what? They said, hey, we're going to get Clyde Winters, send his ass to the University of Pennsylvania. We're going to get that nigga to be Boule, baby. Maybe he'll join the Divine Nine. Maybe he'll be an Alpha Kappa. K-A Psi or Omega Psi. Phi. Or Alpha Phi. Alpha. But I'm sorry, when I went to college, I had game. I knew how to dance and how to talk to girls, and so I didn't have to join the fraternity. Damn! That white man saying today, damn, what happened to that nigga? What happened to that Negro? What happened to Clyde Winters? How did we lose him? How did we lose him? Good moon, they lost me. See? They lost me. See? And that's what they see you as. They see you as that brother. They see you as that sister. Somebody they can use, somebody they can make their money. CRT threatens whites because it accurately identifies whites as terrorists based on their desire to keep FBA in their place, i.e. as an underclass. They want to dominate. But FBA people refuse to accept whites as their superior. Yes, we don't. I mean, look at us. We fight all the time. Even though we know the court is against us, we still try to go to court. See? Derek Bell asked most sisters one day down south, why do y'all keep on stirring up trouble to these white folks? And those sisters said, we know we might not win, but we just like to get on that hunky nerves. And I'm not trying to be racist because hunky is a Wolof word. It's a Wolof word that means a man riding on a horse. And see, during slavery, the master and the overseer would ride on the horse. So when they would see the master or the overseer coming riding on the horse, all the slaves would say, honky, 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 honky. That's not a derogatory term. It just was a term that the black people applied to the slave master, to the overseer because he's riding a horse. Generally, whites without justification fear FBA, who they say is running wild. Yes, they see us as running wild. Listen to me now. Please listen to me. Generally, whites without justification fear FBA, who they see as running wild, because FBA will not accept each and every white person as their master. Remember, that's what they fought the Civil War for. They fought the Civil War to keep the black man in their place. As I told you before, most of the black people, they was on the plantation. And on the plantation, they were subject to terror. The plantation, they was being subject to terror every day, rape their women, rape men. But see, we had over there in schools about three slave rebellions. Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey. See, but 250 slave rebelled. If you made a sister mad, she might put some glass in your food. If you made a sister mad, she might go out in the woods and get some in the roots and bring something in there and poison your ass. The biggest thing was niggas burning down plantations. Don't think your people just took that shit. Stop it. Stop it. Learn your history. To whites, FBR are masterless people with freedom to do as they please, since they are no longer managed by the slave master and the slave overseer, driver, who protected the white masses by keeping FBA enslaved on the plantation. You better remember that. They see you as masterless. CRT makes it clear that whites are delusional. They imagine FBA as wanting to get revenge on them for the mistreatment the slave FBA experienced. Because if they were FBA, they would want revenge. Yeah, they would want revenge. Whites support white supremacy to maintain their privilege. To whites, Jim Crow, and especially lynching were the tools whites feel they should use to maintain societal order within the context of white supremacy. Fear of the masterless slave. That's what white people fear. They fear the free and fair competition. No, they don't want free and fair competition. They don't want you to be able, in a sense, to compete with them fairly because they lose. And then finally, white people are jealousy of FBA success. That's why they burnt down Black Wall Street. That's why they burned down Rosewood. That's why they had riots after World War I. You know, when they talk about the Black Wall Street being bombed, you know why they in a sense bombed Black Wall Street? A lot of y'all don't really know why they bombed Black Wall Street. I'll tell you, because them brothers in Black Wall Street had a machine gun. Yes, they had a machine gun and they was knocking those white folks down as they charged. That's why they had to bomb the damn black community, because they couldn't reach them. They couldn't reach the black people because they had a machine gun. Yes. You are unique people, family. You're FBA. Always remember you're FBA, Foundation of Black Americans. We don't take no shit. Your mama taught you. I mean, damn, we can be the scariest people. When I was growing up, I remember I got in a fight and I didn't try to fight back. Then when I got home, my brother had already got there and he told my mama. You know, and my mama said, Eugene, you take Clyde down there. And Clyde, you better whoop his ass, or you better at least fight, or I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. What? I said, why are you gonna? I'll beat the shit out of you. The next day I had to go fight. I didn't want to fight. You know, that's what your mama's told you. That's what your daddy told you. When there's a bully at school, your daddy said, you better go fight that mother. Your mama said, you better go fight that mother. See, you were raised as an FBA to be a fighter. That's why we fight when we know we're going to lose. We still going to fight. That's FBA. Orlando Patterson, in a book called Rituals of Blood, explains how lynching is seen by whites as an act of sacrifice and salvation from white supremacists that pays homage to the law's cause, i.e. the South lost the Civil War and freedom of FBA. Yes. See, lynching, to white people, lynching is a ritual. It's a blood ritual. To white people, lynching is a way, in the sense that they offer a sacrifice to God. And that's a nigga burning on a tree. See? You thought in a sense that lynching was just because they hate you. It's more than they hate you. It's part of CRT. It's part of their psychopathic mind. It's part of their mind where they want to kill the nigga. That's why every time a brother go to jail and get the death penalty, then those Europeans can feel they're killing that nigga. You see. Orlando Patterson showed that they focus hatred on FBAs due to their bitterness of defeat, because whites are supposed to be superior to FBA. but it was the participation of 200,000 FBA during the Civil War that led to the North's victory during the war. See, people don't understand. During the Civil War, all the military academies, were in the South. During the Civil War, remember, Southerners had to go hunt rabbits, and Southerners they knew how to operate with guns. And so then what happened in a sense is that when the Civil War was going on, the South was kicking the North's ass. Yes, yes. But then what happened is that in 1863, they finally decided that they was going to free the enslaved black people so that they could have some soldiers, 17,000 black people 17,000 slaves from Mississippi fought in the Civil War. Over 200,000 black men fought in the Navy and the Army. And another 200,000 used to build the entrenchments and clean up the dead and all that type of shit. See? When those black people joined the Civil War, they began to kick the Southerners' asses. Can you imagine when that South saw them brothers in blue charging down at them with those damn rifles with a bayonet and came whooping their asses? No, you can't even imagine that, because the white man, he want to put in you the image, in a sense, of glory. And glory, you see, the brothers, they charge. The brothers, they're heroic. But they kick the brothers' asses. That's the movie they showed your ass. But in real life, we kick their asses. 25 of us, in a sense, won the Medal of Honor. I got to tell you something, foundational Black Americans. The white men ain't never gave us shit. We got our freedom because 200,000 black men fought in the Civil War and kicked much white ass. I got to go to college, and many of you got to go to college because we burned down the damn cities after they killed Martin Luther King. That's how your ass got to college. That's why when we stopped protesting, we stopped arguing, they took away all those rights and shit. And then doing it, that's why when they took away that, when recently they said there was no affirmative action, black people didn't give a damn about affirmative action. Why? Because they use affirmative action to help white people. They use affirmative action to give Black Caribbeans or Black Africans, anybody but FBA, a damn scholarship to Harvard. See, because they thought they was making a joke. See, the European, he liked to make jokes with us. He liked to make a joke out of you because he feels, in a sense, that there's no way we should be free. He feels, in a sense, that he got to keep us down. He feels that he had to put fear in you because what is CRT? Number one, they hate you. Number two, they want to kill you. Number three, they want to have a race that they're going to win. Patterson makes it clear that lynching was a communal act, which involved participation in the event by the entire white community, from children to seniors. He makes it clear that these were sacrificial murders, possessing ritual communal activities of a religious nature, as Euro-Americans attempted to deny manhood to the FBA male. This is, Orlando Patterson. This is his book, Rituals of Blood. Of the 3,500 FBA lynched in the United States, over 2,700 were lynched in the South. Patterson makes it clear that lynching was a rite of passage among Euro-Americans that resolved their hate of FBA and desired that FBA were their slaves, like before the Civil War, through the shedding of the blood of foundational Black Americans. Thusly, Black males were lynched both in the South and in the North in ritual killings that demanded mass attendance, right? Look at this. See all the people that got to come and see it. They had to have torture, and they had to burn. Burn sacrifice. I know you read the Bible. In the Bible, those preachers, then they taught you about the burn sacrifice. That's why they had to burn the brother up. Mass attendance, torture, burning, these were all features characteristic of ritual murders. There were rituals associated with lynching. These rituals included, and this is what Patterson explained. He explains that much of the sacrificial event was based on drama and celebration. Yeah, they had to have drama and celebration, aimed at satisfying the rapacious savagery. Yes, the rapacious savagery of the white man, of the mob, which believes that the slave, FBA males, need to be placed back under the control of Euro Americans because he is masterless. Yes, they feel we're masterless. They feel that they're not safe. They're not safe because when we was kept on the plantation, they had a driver to keep us down. You see? They had overseers to keep us down, and master was going to keep your ass away. But see, now in a sense, they feel in a sense that they're not there. So see, they had to create this ritual, this ritual of lynching, so that they could satisfy their racist consciousness based on based on critical race theory. Critical race theory is not really a theory, but they just said critical race theory identifies white people as psychopathetic, psychopaths, sociopaths. But let's look. Here's a ritual. This is what was associated. First, whenever before they lynch a brother, they gotta have a chase. They gotta chase the nigga. They gotta chase him. Maybe a posse or something. Then after that, they have to have a careful selection of the sacrificial site. They either wanted to burn a brother up in an oak tree, or they put him on a bridge. And the reason, and see, bridges are very important in terms of this ritual. This blood ritual that white people had to satisfy, in a sense, their desire to kill you based upon the fact that they're psychopathic. You see, so they wanted to put you on a bridge, and when they hung you on a bridge. When you see a bridge, what does it show? It connects in a sense two parts of an area, right? A bridge usually goes over some water. So in a sense, when they hung a brother on a bridge, that was to signify the transition from that nigga being free to that nigga being, in a sense, being destroyed. See, because they hate you. See, CRT is not about history. CRT is about the fact they hate your ass. CRT is about the fact they want to kill you. CRT is about the fact they want to make sure that you don't compete with them in no damn race. After they do the chase, after they carefully select the site to hang the brother, then number 3, they had to have what? The sadistic torture. Usually they had to burn you alive. You see, and see what did burning you alive mean? See, burning alive, the flame represented the white god devouring the evil FBA male. Remember, that's why they set the brother on fire. See, they had to set a brother on fire because I was to satisfy the white god that we could keep these niggas down. And then after the chase, after they sacrifice you on a tree, then after they burn your ass up, then there was a collection of mementos from the victim's body. Cut off his penis, cut off a piece of him. A lot of times, in a sense, they would cut off a piece of this black man's body, and they'd take it back and they'd save it in their house because, see, that was a way for them to fulfill their hate of you. See, when they got a piece of that brother's body, that was a way, in the sense that they all see. Remember, by having a mass audience, that means that every white person can get their satisfaction in killing the nigga. They didn't lynch your ass because they hated you. They didn't lynch your ass because of the fact they were afraid of you. They lynched you because they were paying homage to their white god, the god of white supremacy that says, keep the nigga down, burn that mother up. In the NAACP's 30 years of lynching, they reported, and I quote, bars of iron were heated, and the mob amused itself by putting them close to the victims, at first without touching them. One bar he grasped, and as he was jerked from his grasp, all the inside of the hand came with it. That was because of, the burning bar. Then the real torture began, lasting for 20 minutes. During this time, while his flesh was slowly roasting, the Negro never lost his nerve. He cursed those who tortured him, and almost to the last breath derided the attempts of the mob to break his spirit. That was a brother of mine. See, They didn't enjoy that. They didn't enjoy that particular lynching, because that brother, in a sense, till he died, he still said, he still cursed him. He still, in a sense, wouldn't let them beat him down. See, I'll never forget. I met my wife in 1968. I was 17, and I think she was 16 or something like that. Shit, you see. And we made a pledge. We made a pledge that we was not going to die on our knees. We were not going to die on our knees. And see, that's what Black Power was about. Black Power is about standing strong. Black Power is having pride. Black Power is saying, I'm not going to die on my knees. Just like that brother, even though they tried to torture him, he still stood up. Brother, sister, family, you got to stand up. You know, back then they used to even make postcards. Yes, postcards. These are some of the postcards they would use, and people would get these postcards and they would sign them and send them to their friends. Let's look at this, the dogwood tree. This is the only branch of a dogwood tree, an emblem of white supremacy. A lessons one taught is the pioneer school, that this is the land of white man's rule. The red man once in the early days was told by the white man to mend his ways. The Negro now by eternal grace must learn to stay in the Negro's place. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. See? Look at that. That's what CRT is about. CRT is about exposing the white man for wanting to keep you down. CRT is about keeping black people without having a damn thing. CRT is about black people understanding that you're dealing with a sociopath. CRT is telling you that you're dealing with a psychopath who hates you, want to kill you, and set a race where he should always win. Lynching was not the only form of torture. They allowed lynched blacks to remain hung until they rotted. As I tell you, when you went to a plantation, look on that left-hand side. That's how most brothers were. They kept a brother either like that or with his damn, or they just had a rotten head. But they would keep that body out there just like that in front of the plantation until he rotted away. See, they didn't like the fact that those black men, 200,000 of them, kicked white asses on the battlefield. They didn't like the fact that we became masterless, that we was free. But they didn't give us freedom. We fought for our freedom. We took our damn freedom. Just like every damn thing else you got. Nigga, what? Stop. Stop thinking the white man gonna give you any damn thing. He ain't giving you ish. He's not giving you ish. And the only thing he wants is for you to be a stupid nigga like the one on the right side beating the brother. That's what it is. That's what Cades is. Culturally acquired identity immune deficiency syndrome. It's black people beating each other down. It's black people hating each other. It's black people destroying each other. You see? Yes. Yes. CRT has its greatest identity in terms, in a sense, of lynching. CRT tells you that there is nothing like civil rights. It can't be civil rights because they're not going to give you no rights. That was what lynching was about. CRT is about the fact that you can go to court. There ain't no constitution going to hardly give you rights either. Every now and then you might get a right, but they're going to take away your rights like they took away them all the time. Whoever heard the fact you got a Voting Right Act? They got a Voting Right Act, but then the Voting Right Act has to be renewed, and then they slowly take away your right to vote. Or they slowly take away affirmative action. Don't you get it? That's what CRT is about. CRT is about acknowledging the fact that white people want to control you. CRT is about the fact that you're dealing with a psychopath. You see? you really think that these white people are upset about Black history? They're not upset about Black history. They're upset about CRT. They don't want you to teach their kids that they're a psychopath. They don't want you to teach their kids that you hate Black people and you have no reason to hate Black people, but you hate them. Do you think they want you to teach white children that the only reason that they get anything in this damn world is because they got white privilege? No. They want to make their people think, in a sense, that they're there because they deserve it. But hey, we need more researchers. This discussion of critical race theory highlights the fact that we need more researchers to research hidden history segments of Black history in the United States and the world generally. I teach a 15-week Black history course. In this Black history course, I teach people how to be researchers. I teach people how to know about our history. You see, because studying Black history is not to find out how great you were, it is to find out what mistakes were made that put us in this condition. That's what Neely Fuller teaches us. And I teach people, in a sense, how to know their history, how to understand their history, and how to write our history to let more people know about it. Knowing your history will invigorate your mind and spirit. To Wilson, we should see history as psychohistory, since the aim of writing Black people out of history is to destroy any sense of intellectual or social self-esteem. Yes, they want to take away your social self-esteem. See? CRT is meant to take away your social self-esteem, because CRT means that they're going to take away your civil rights if they can. They're going to take away, in a sense, the Constitution. That they're going to make it that anything you do, they're going to find a way to hold you back because they hate you. They want to kill you, and they don't want to have fair competition. Wilson noted that, and I quote, "In the final analysis, European history's principal function is to first separate us from ourselves and separate us from the reality of the world, to separate us from the reality of our history, and to separate us from its ramifications." Yes. Black history matters. Yes. Black history matters. Our children matters. We want to see our children happy. We want to see our children in love with themselves. Why do we want to see that? Because, see, history situates your place in society. History tells you who you are. And history promotes or discourages self-esteem. Yes. The FBA, the foundation of Black America that knows their history, cultivates self-esteem and is motivated to seek success. Yeah, look at this child. See? Some of you family out there send your kids to school and they come home, or they don't want to go to school no more because they're always being told that they're nobody. They're always being taught that they can't be successful. They're always being taught what they don't know. See? I taught in Chicago public schools for 46 years. See? My kids always passed the state test. You know why my kids passed the state test? Because I taught my kids how to take the test. So simple. I didn't teach them how to cheat on the test. I just taught them what's on the test. But we're the only people, since we have all these AKAs, Alpha Phi Alphas. I'm sorry, sister. Some AKAs are great. But a lot of AKAs, they control school systems around the country. And all they do is they don't ever teach the children how to really learn how to prepare for tests. See, all your life you've been taught that before you take a test, you prepare the kids for the test. But we're the only people, in a sense, that think our kids should be able to pass a test with no preparation. That's why they never pass the test. It's not because our kids are dumb. It's because our kids have teachers who don't know what they're doing. The 2021 United States election showed whites feel knowledge of Black history promotes white inferiority. Yes. They don't want to know our history because they, in a sense, feel inferior to you. They don't like knowing the fact they wanted to make a light bulb, but we had to make it work. They wanted to make a telephone, we had to make it work. They wanted to make machines, but it took, in a sense, the real Elijah McCoy, to make the oil machine work. They don't like the fact that a brother made the damn chips, the microchips. They don't like it's in our culture, but it's in our history. But our kids don't know that. You know, this course is an Afrocentric researcher. In this course, you will learn research methods that can help you write and conduct research in the business, educational, historical, linguistic, and anthropological disciplines. You know, some of the people in my students, there's some of the people in my students, you see, they never wrote shit. They never wrote shit before. But after they took my class and I taught them how to do research, now you can find their research online. Just put in there System of Racism as a Technology by Philippe Matthews. He was one of my students. And then Amra. She was one of my students. She wrote about the drums. My research class is about helping you to be able to tell your story, tell our story. And then some of my students have even written books. I've only been doing this class for the last, 2-3 years. See, one of my students, Shanice Lindsay, she wrote a book about the Black King Afra. And what she did is that in her book, she tells the story of the Baradanacs. The Baradanacs is about the foundational Black British. In other words, in a sense, the first people who lived in Britain were, in a sense, Black people. And these Black people, in a sense, they were the first kings. In fact, the kings of Scotland, you know what their name was? They called themselves Niger or nigger. That's why they always wanted to throw on you and make nigger a derogatory term, because when they were living in Scotland, when they was living in Ireland, when they went before that Black king, they had to say, "Thank you, nigger." So they wanted to twist and flip the script. They wanted to turn it around. But Shanice Lindsay wrote this beautiful book. And she wrote that book after she had been in my class and learned how to do research. And then Paquette. Oh, Paquette. She wrote a book called The Black Mother Wound. This book is powerful. Every Black man and woman needs to get this book, The Black Mother Wound. In this book, she talks about, in a sense, the trauma that some of our mothers give us. See, it's not what we did to ourselves, it's what was done to us that made our mothers sometimes do things to us that give us trauma. How our mothers sometimes made us feel inferior. How our mothers sometimes made us hate the race. But the beauty of the Black Mother Wound by Paquette is that what it does is that the Black Mother Wound, she gives you exercises to help you be able, in a sense, to fight that trauma, to relieve that trauma. But see, this is from the research that I taught them how to do. And if you join my class, you can do research like this too. You can write articles, you can write books. Cheryl, she was one of my students. She has her own business. And her business, in a sense, is designing clothes and selling clothes. And she took my class because she wanted to learn and research the various methods she could use to make sure that she could sell her clothing, her line of clothing. See, so my course is not just for you to be a historian or to be a psychologist. My story in my class is to help you to do any aspect of ancient history, any aspect of Black history, any aspect of Black society. You take my course and you can be just like them. But again, if you want to learn more about Black people, get my book, History of Blacks in Ancient America. If you want to learn about our Native American heritage as being the original people of the United States, the Black Aboriginals, get my book, That We Are Not Just Africans. If you want to learn about our genetic origins and who we are genetically, get my book, The Phylogeography of Afro-Americans and Africans. And if you want to learn more about Cades, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome, get my book, Pathfinder. And Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentrism, a memoir. This is a memoir. And in this memoir, I tell you how I became the researcher I am today. How, in a sense, because of my wife, my wonderful one, I'm the man I am today because my wonderful one, my wife, we were married for 50 years. We were friends for 52 years. She died in 2020, you see? And she always said to me, nigga, don't you ever give up on your people. Nigga, don't you ever stop loving your people. That was my wife, my wonderful one. And I miss her madly. I miss her greatly. But I thank her so much for helping me to stay Black, helping my children to stay Black. But treat me like white folks because y'all treat them better. Join my Patreon and see the slides. You can find me on Twitter, Dr. Clyde Winters 8. Go to YouTube and look at my videos. And of course, go buy my books at Amazon.com. I got 40 books on there on all aspects of Black history. Thank you.
Wow. Dr. Winters, we really, really, really appreciate that presentation.
I'm sorry.
But for anybody in the chat, I didn't put your questions up. Yeah, I didn't put the questions up because I wanted to wait till now. So anybody in the chat don't think I was ignoring you. I'll just go with the questions of how they came because I'm able to put them to the side.
Okay.
This question was, what does CRT explain why other Black and Africans are at each other's throats? The chattel slave mind versus the colonized mind, to different ideologies in the globalist society and culture ears. Woo.
No, the CRT does not explain that. CRT is about the psychopathology of white people. CRT is meant to tell you that they cannot give you civil rights. They cannot apply the Constitution to free you. They cannot, in a sense, give you any type of legal justice because of the fact, in a sense, is that they hate you. They want to kill you, and they don't want to have any competition with you. No, CRT has nothing to do with that. What you have to learn from that is that those things, that was from Willie Lynch. I mean, what was it, Willie Lynch? Even though they said that was made up, that's bullshit. They wrote books and they wrote manuals on how to keep Black people down and how to keep Black people at each other's throats. The way they taught us to keep at each other's throats is that they always, in a sense, would give one Black person a little bit more than another Black person. They might get a house nigga sometimes more than the white nigga, than the field nigga. But the house nigga didn't always have it good because the house nigga was close to him, so they might rape that house nigga. They might rape that butler, bend him over and hit that pussy. So in a sense, it's that, no, CRT has nothing to do with that. CRT is about the psychopathology of the white man, and CRT is about the fact is that no matter what you do, you're not going to be saved by civil rights. You're not going to be saved by the Constitution. You're not going to be saved by any type of legal means because of the fact, in a sense, that white people hate you. And because white people hate you, that's why, in a sense, you always have to compete with this. But see, the wonderful thing is this, is that look at this. Here's some people that hate you. Here's some people that want to kill you. But because of God, they can't do ish to us. See, that's why the number one theme of them is to make you turn away from God. And they want you to turn away from God because they hate God. They feel God is punishing them. And they feel God is punishing them because, see, originally Caucasian people were Black people, but they turned white. And because of the fact that they turned white, they hate us because of the fact that they don't have this rich melanin. They hate us because they don't have the warmth. See, you got to remember, in a sense, is that paleness is associated with death, not Blackness. Paleness is associated with death. When white people die, they don't turn Black, they turn pale. But they taught you to hate Blackness because, Blackness, in a sense, you had to go back to the Egyptians. Some of the Egyptians were light, some of the Egyptians were dark, but they called themselves the common true or the common you. They called themselves the Black people. Why did they call themselves Black people? They called themselves Black people because they believed that they were the chosen people of God. They felt they were the chosen people of God, and that's why the Egyptians always made their gods what color? Black. See, it's not that they thought of themselves as a color. They thought of themselves as being the children of God. That's why they called themselves common truth, the Black people. See, even when you could look at them, they wasn't Black, right? Some were yellow, light skin, all type of shit. See,
he said, "Why is it not an extension of DSM?"
Why do you think the white man wants to admit that he's a psychopath? That's all I got to say. Remember, all your life you've been taught they were good. I mean, especially during my time. My time, we had the Brady Bunch. We had all these movies that were showing us that the white woman was so nice, and that the white family was so good, and so that was always to make you feel, in a sense, that you in a sense were not nice. I mean, look at us. You see, I'm a professor. You don't see no white people playing me up as a professor, do you? Because I don't shuck and jive. I talk to you and I tell you the truth. I tell you what's going on. Look at the number. What are the two damn main professors they talk about? They talk about, in a sense, Cornell West. You got Cornell West. He's been a professor for years, but every time this brother started talking, he started talking about jazz. Yeah, it's like the soul town. Shucking and jiving nigga, baby. They want a shucking and jiving nigga. And then what's that other professor brother they play up? He always talking about rap. He's the rapping professor.
Michael Eric Dyson.
Michael Eric Dyson. See, they shucking and jiving niggas. They don't want no real brother. They don't want no grassroots brother like me. They don't want no grassroots brother like Randy Short, Dr. Randy Short, because we gonna tell you like it is. We ain't gonna shuck and jive. Yaza down the plantation. Yaza, how's your man? How's your boy? Yaza, come and see the land. That ain't us, baby.
Then he asked about your program. I'll send
you information, and you can put it in the.
Yeah, I still got it. I put it in there that last week. I put it in the community section. Make sure, engaging Black Negro. Make sure you check the community section, because a lot of times, Dr. Short as well as Dr. Winters will send me stuff throughout the day or whatever, and I'll just post in the community section, because as they say, information is power.
Yeah.
So
our next class is going to start August 7th. It lasts 15 weeks, and again, like I said, is that a lot of my former students, they always say that I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think I could say this. Because why could you do it? I said that's because I want you to understand that the way that Black people become successful is being colleagues. But they taught us, like the brother said or sister said earlier, they taught us to be at each other's throats. And the reason they taught us to be at each other's throats is because the fact, in a sense, is that they know that you cannot, in a sense, move together. Just like what I like about Orlando Patterson's book, Rituals of Blood, he tells about that we always fool ourselves. And we always say we have so good family relations. And yet, even though we say we have good family relations, but we have the smallest families around. Sometimes brothers and sisters don't even communicate with each other. It's sad. It's sad. But what was the other question?
A couple of these was just statements. I know that you asked this question before, engaging Black Negro, about the DSM. Yeah, they was basically just the same question about the. He asked, okay, here you go. Why not the global community not pushing this form of DSM perspective? They as in white, or just a teaspoon of milk in a pool full of chocolate. Well, let me ask you, Dr. Winters.
Go ahead.
So, like I said in the beginning, it was a bunch of conversation from the left that they wanted CRT taught in our schools, and the right pushed back. And I'm only using the left and the right just for the sake of this question.
That wasn't it. They didn't want it taught in the schools, remember? Because they said CRT was taught in law school. Because CRT is related to the CRT is related to what? Civil rights. That's a legal thing. It's related to legal cases, and it's also related in a sense to constitutional law. That's why are you going to teach CRT? Why are you going to teach white kids? You're a beast. You're a psychopath. You hate niggas. And why do you hate niggas? You just hate them. See, but nobody teaches CRT to kids.
Yeah, this is for like Dr. Winters says, this is something that you learn in you definitely learn it in law school, because Dr. Derek Bell he was one of like the father. He's the father of CRT, but he's was a great legal mind. And
I love his books.
Most people consider him like the one as far as people of color, and I hate to use that word, but black people in law, even up there, greater minds better than Thurgood Marshall and probably Clarence Thomas when it comes to understanding the law.
But see, Clarence Thomas, you got to remember that Clarence Thomas, he made it off affirmative action, but then Clarence Thomas, he decided in the sense that he hated affirmative action because he always thought that white people looked at him as being undeserving, and so he's against affirmative action because he feels that black people should be allowed to demonstrate demonstrate their expertise and stuff. The only problem is that because of CRT, because of the fact that white people, in a sense, hate you, white people want to kill you, white people have never fulfilled our civil rights. They've never given us our legal rights, and the Constitution don't support us. Then, therefore, in a sense, no matter what you do, you're not going to have a fair ground. You're not going to have fair competition. That's what critical race theory is about. The fact that white people are not going to give you an opportunity to have fair competition, because to give you fair competition, they lose.
And I know I know a lot of people may not agree with what I'm about to say, but even if you look at Clarence Thomas's decision on when they just struck down part of affirmative action, Dr. Short had mentioned it the other day, and I actually saw it in the decision. If you look at this decision carefully and what he said, Clarence Thomas actually, he may have inadvertently, I don't know if he did this purposely, he may have opened up the door for some other legal action against the United States government, which I think that people that understand law should really look at.
It's a lot of things he opened up, but see, the whole point is this: is that what Derek Bell argued is that sometimes we can beat them based upon constitutional law, and we can get some things, but they never last. See, that's why Black Indians developed the whole idea of Indian giver, and I grew up with this thing. When I was growing up, we talked about Indian giver. An Indian giver was somebody who you would say, "Give me some of that candy." They came to you and they said, "Give me some of that candy," and then you gave them candy. But then when they had some candy, they wouldn't give you anything. So an Indian giver was somebody who would give you something and take it away, and that's what the Caucasian is. But see, here's the trick of it: is that no matter how the white man hates you, no matter how the white man want to kill you, no matter how the white man, in a sense, has set up a race to keep you down, God still allows many of us to be successful. We're not all stuck in the damn ghetto and pissy ass places. You see, a lot of us are living in suburbs. Do you think the white man wanted us to be living in our own homes? You think no? That's why he didn't want you to be masterless. See, look at how when they give us half a chance, when they give us half a chance to really compete with them, they can't hold you back. Listen, Q.
Mm-hmm.
You was in college. You see, what school did you go to? What university did you go to?
I didn't go to college, believe it or not. I went to a business school for a paralegal. That's how I know a little bit about the law.
Okay, so you went to a legal school with paralegals. Wasn't there white folks in that school?
Yeah.
Didn't you see white folks fall by the wayside and your ass kept going?
Yeah.
Need I say more? That's why they don't want any fair competition. See, I didn't go to no black college. I went to a white college. When I went to that white college, when I was at the University of Illinois, I was competing with white people for grades, and I got A's and B's and shit. You see, and I saw many of their asses commit suicide, especially the old engineering department in Illinois. Every year, at least 2 white boys would commit suicide because they couldn't pass calculus. See. So I saw white people fall by the wayside. I played, in a sense, I played linebacker and defensive end in college. I'll admit them niggas at Michigan State and Ohio State beat the hell out of my ass. But the other teams I could kind of do something. But them brothers at Michigan, at Michigan and Ohio State, well, they would whoop my ass. But I would still keep fighting. And see, I learned how to fight because I saw white people fall by the wayside. So I knew it wasn't nothing about competition. But see, most of the black people that are professors today, most of them went to black colleges. At these black colleges like Howard University and all that, some, except for Howard University, a lot of black colleges don't even teach black history. They don't even teach black history. So a lot of these people, they don't have any competition with whites. So a lot of black people go to black colleges and then go to white colleges. They think the white man is God. See, but I learned I learned when I was at the University of Illinois that he wasn't God. You learned when you was trying to be a paralegal that he wasn't God. And you knew that you were smarter than a lot of their asses. And that made you say, damn, nigga, what? I can get whatever I want in life. Will you
Yeah,
stop that?
we used to
Will
have
you
these.
stop that? Q, stop it. You started, you could get whatever you wanted out of life. Stop!
And
Stop!
and
Stop!
and
Stop!
Dr. Winters, and you know what's the craziest thing about when I did was in school, I actually didn't finish because I started having a family. I had
Yeah.
a son and stuff. But it's amazing how we used to have these things with seminars every Saturday morning,
Uh-huh.
and me and my partner at the time, we would come late purposely. So they would always say, "Oh, we don't know the course," so then when we would have to do like legal research and shepherdizing law and stuff like that, we would always show up and be like, "I'd be like, yo, you know what to do?" He'd be like, "Yeah." So we'd always play this game like we ain't understand what was going on and stuff. So the brother asked the question, and Dr. Winters eloquently explained what CRT was. So I don't really want to ask him this question.
But
Is
no,
CRT a
here's
form of?
right. It is right. It is religion. It is
Mm-hmm.
religion. It is religion because remember, in a sense, is that just like lynching was a ritual, the whole idea, in a sense, that they hate you, they want to kill you, and they want to have, in a sense, non-competitive competition. See, racism begins with the word what? Race. And a
Race.
race, that's competition between two or more people. See, and so to be racist, the European, in a sense, the white man has to set up a system where he can't lose. But see, even though he's set up a system that he can't lose, even though he wants to kill us, even though he hates us, God still makes it so that some of us still become successful. See, not everybody. See, but what I'm saying is that sometimes you fight. You fight. Okay, the CD4 gene, all it is that it's a gene, in a sense, that's supposed to be able to delineate your ability to learn, your ability to be creative. And what they did is that they tried to, in a sense, they tried to check the various racial groups to see how many strands. See, a strand is this. Remember, you got DNA is a whole strand of various inscriptions, of various writings, of various parts of the gene. And so what they found is that when they looked at the CD4 gene, they found, in a sense, that when they looked and they studied the various populations to determine how many strands they had in the inscription or the list of numbers for that particular gene, they found that black people carried 9, white people only carried 4. That means, in a sense, if we carry 9 strands, that means that, in a sense, we have more creativity. See, we have more ability to deal with things. So that's one of the reasons why the European does not want to dare allow you to compete with them, on a basis, on any type of fair competition, because they know they can't win. And genetically, they know they can't win. See, they try to teach you that you're genetically inferior, but in a sense, you're not genetically inferior because the CD4 gene shows that you have more strands. That means you have more different, in a sense, more mathematically, you have more abilities based upon that particular gene. See,
Yeah.
see, the whole point is this: is that they thought when they did genetics, they did population genetics. And see, when you've done linguistic research, as you know, this guy named Atkinson, he found that the original language goes back to Africa. Okay. They also found, in a sense, so Europeans thought that genetics, in a sense, would be a way that they could prove that they were superior to black people. Because see, whenever they use anthropology and archaeology, archaeology, whenever they would go and excavate in a sense a site, when they would excavate the site, they might find some pictures of black people. If they didn't find pictures of black people, they might find some skulls and some skeletons, and then the skeletons would always be of black people. Since all these ancient civilizations like Sumer, Egypt, and all that, since the skeletons that they found were always skeletons of black people, then naturally, in a sense, the white man said, damn, we got to stop talking about this archaeology shit So let's go to genetics. And so they thought that genetics could free them. So they said that white people had a certain group of genes, black people had another group of genes, and then Asians had another group of genes. See, the only problem with that is that as they did more and more research, they found that black people carried all the genes. And since black people carried all the genes, because see, what they did is they said that black people and white people and Asian people didn't meet until in a sense the Atlantic slave trade.
Wow.
Until 1492. But that's a lie. Remember, the Moors had been in Europe since 711 AD, and they didn't get pushed out until 1492. Since the Moors were black and they came from Senegal and other parts of Africa, then therefore, in a sense, black and white people were in contact. So then therefore, in a sense, is that the whole basis of genetics is all based on a lie, because we were in contact with each other. See, if you notice, they never talk about the Moors. You never hear about the Moors in history. They always talk about the Renaissance, but they don't ever say how they got to the Renaissance. Because see, the more as I explained, if you go to American Maroon, I'm in American Maroon, and when you go to American Maroon, we talk about the Moors because the Moors taught white people how to clean themselves up. You see, so they wouldn't keep having the Black Death. We taught them about toothpaste. We taught them about deodorant. We taught them how to cook their food. See, white people, in a sense, they thought, okay, let's say we want to make some tender chicken. So if you want to make some tender chicken, you might get some salt and some pepper and some other spices on it. But see, what white people do to make their chickens tender, they would kill a chicken and then they would sit it outside and let it and as it got more and more rotten, they thought it was being more tender. No, you was eating rotten chicken. See, and so, but when the Moors came, we taught them all this shit. See, you gotta understand. See, they teach you that the white man has been ruling black people for the past 2,000 years. That's a lie. That's a lie. Europeans only took over Africa in 1899. And by 1965, Africa became free. So then, therefore, the European wasn't dominating the African, in a sense, for no 300, 400, 500 years. But the only problem was that even though he ruled Africa for less than 100 years, he worked on those people's mind. He took them to a school, and he brainwashed them. I am a freak. I am a freak. Why are you a freak, Dr. Winters? I'm a freak because I went to this man's school, and I came out loving my people. I went to this man's school, and I came out teaching you your history and teaching you the truth. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be like Greg Carr, teaching you some bullshit or talking about the. I love to look it up. I love to look at Greg Carr every Saturday, him and Karen Hunter. But every time he's talking about all these boule people, and he's talking about all these preachers and stuff like that. My daddy wasn't no preacher. I had to work my way through college. See, I'm a grassroots nigga. I'm sorry. I don't like to say nigger because that's complicated, but now that I know that the Scottish Kings called themselves nigger, they're no more nigger though. Okay, you bloody well.
So you guys in the chat, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Really appreciate Dr. Winters coming to us and giving us a class on what CRT really is, and we see why it's so much pushback, and because it will, as they say, blow the lid off on what's really going on. Definitely for somebody.
It'll destroy. White people have been taught that they're superior to you. They don't want their kids to know that they're not superior to you, that the only reason that they got where they are is because of privilege. They want to think that this is a meritocracy. It's not a meritocracy. You get things because you're white. And sometimes you don't get things because you're black.
It's simple as that, you guys. So with that, like I said, appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Dr. Winters. You have any you gonna leave it at that or got any
Well, yeah.
final thoughts?
Again, I want to thank the people who sent me cash apps, and I want you to join my Patreon if you can. And I'm hoping that some of you will join my class. I'll send the information, and Q can put that in the description. And family, knowledge is winning. You win with knowledge. You lose through the lack of knowledge.